We're back.
We are back.
That's becoming a bit of a trademark now, isn't it? The beginning
It
of
is.
every series. Well, he says, "I'll be back," which is like leaves open-ended, but every time we're back and we say it, we are back. There's no two ways about it. We ain't going anywhere.
No, we're not, mate. Season 5. Can you believe it?
I know. Do you remember like how hard it was just for us to get started with season 1?
I'm pretty sure we've mentioned it before, but it took like, what is it, 4 or 5 recordings of that first episode? Because we were just so cringe on it. Like, no, that's just not good enough.
We've come a long way. But
Yeah,
that's not all that we're doing, is it? There's been a lot change if you think since we hit record on that first episode of the first series as to where we are now. There's been a lot going on, and we've probably touched upon it on some of the episodes in the last season, but we haven't really ever addressed what that has taken up a lot of our time. So I think it's probably a good time to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is the perfect time to do that. But actually, when I look back, Kieran, who sat here and recorded that very first episode and that very first series, I'm definitely a different guy as well. Like, it's been a real personal development, as well as obviously, should I say a business one? It is like that kind of development into bigger than just a podcast, and that's what we're talking about today, and that is NeXYs Fertility. We'll obviously go through this in a little bit more detail, but I can't explain to anyone just how much thought and effort we both put in to wanting to give more to a growing community that we didn't have a place to put them, did we?
Yeah. And that's probably a good place to start, is to even just explain like a top level of what it is. And then I guess we could give a bit of background as to what's going on behind it. But so NeXYs is the name and support is the game. I didn't even... God, the things you come up with. So it's based on the Latin word nexus, which means a central place of convergence, a community. And because we obviously have the podcast, we have our Instagrams where you and I have been sharing and raising awareness for male fertility for years now. And then there was this WhatsApp group that had started a few years ago when I held an in-person group in London. And the guys that came along to that were in it. And eventually we opened it up and it just started growing and growing. And it's these little signs and signals that you have to listen to them, don't you? And we realised just how needed it was. So you came down to mine, you flew down, which sounds more extravagant than it is, on a propeller aeroplane from Manchester to Newquay. But we said, what is it? What can we do? We always had that nagging feeling, didn't we, of there's more to be done.
Yeah, it was. We just didn't quite know what it was, did we? And it kind of took that meeting of coming down for 3 or 4 days. I came down to you, and to be fair, that was the best plane flight I've ever taken, in terms of it saved me 7 hours. It took 40 minutes. It was phenomenal. But yeah, we weren't quite sure. And even then we sat down and we started thrashing out the ideas, didn't we?
But it always, like, the central theme was always support for blokes, wasn't it? We were like, how can we do this more? What can we do? Make this bigger, better, more accessible and more inclusive. Also, there's a quote, isn't there? You can have the best idea in the world, but if no one knows about it, then it's just an idea.
Yeah, 100%.
So how do we get it out there?
What's the name of that hotel that we sat at?
Watergate Bay Hotel. Bloody lovely.
Mate, beautiful place. But I remember sitting there looking out, and we had our little pens and pencils out and a book, and it was like, I turned to you and said, what did you want? What did I want when we were going through this? And that was the key question, wasn't it? What did we want? What did we need, should I say? And then slowly and surely, we started to draw this idea of NeXYs in a most amazing environment as well, because it was absolutely stunning there. And I'm definitely jealous of you living down there all the time. But it's that's where it all started, in that hotel on the balcony there.
And that's the thing. It was about having, like I said, that as the word means. It's that central place for men to be able to come to, and a nice little switch from the U in Nexus to make it a Y for Nexus, the little X and the Y there. Nicely done, nice bit of branding. But we just got to it, didn't we? We set to it after that meeting, and that was August 2024. And yeah, we got cracking in earnest, really, didn't we? And the website started getting built that winter, and it's just been a bit of a blur since, really, hasn't it? It's just like the world needed it, as we knew, and the reception has been phenomenal since we've got going.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing, both from guys going through it, but also from people in the industry. Like, we've had so many people reach out and thank us for what we're doing, and also want to collaborate, which is fantastic. But we're both very aware as well, because we're so early in this journey ourselves in terms of developing Nexus. We have almost lent out of too much collaboration, so we could really build the vision that we wanted. And I think one of the main things for me was when we were putting all these ideas together, you talked about the original WhatsApp group that you had, and we put in there, or you put in there, about what the group meant to the guys in there. And I know they sent some amazing feedback for you, and like literally paragraphs, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah,
absolutely
that's the
incredible.
thing. We said, guys, can you just give us a couple of sentences or a line just to say what this group has meant to you over the last few years? And then they were writing back reams and reams, which it just shows how much it has. Like,
Yeah,
people couldn't summarize what it meant in just a line or so. But yeah, I've just pulled up some of those testimonials essentially that they sent over, and just literally a couple of highlights. Like, one guy says, when I joined the group, I introduced myself, shared my story, and even before anyone responded, it felt like an enormous weight had lifted. Another chap, and this is, I think this sums up what it's all about, really. It's just, the best part about this group is that men from all perspectives are represented, because it's not about people being in a particular stage or period of their journey. It's there's guys like me in there who are donor recipient fathers, exploring what that means. There are guys just being diagnosed and trying to make sense of everything. There's people right throughout the spectrum of male infertility, from that early diagnosis right through to becoming a father, whether it is like eventually naturally and like biologically, or again like myself, like as a donor recipient, and it, learning that we all are in it. You know, you don't. I've said many a time, I learned a big life lesson having been through this, was that you don't get over it. You just learn to make space for it and to live with it. And that's why it's great, because people come back and can give that perspective from a bit further along, leave some breadcrumbs, like what little clues as to what helped them. And like, again, another guy here saying, hearing the experiences of others who truly understand the emotional toll of infertility has not only helped me feel less alone, but provided practical advice and encouragement that has felt invaluable on my journey. And yeah, that again is, I mentioned the breadcrumbs. We don't all have the answers, but you might have just a little anecdote that helped one person, and the other person might go, do you know what, that's quite helpful, that's really applicable to what I'm going through. And to the next person it might not be, but it's all about that shared support, shared space and experience.
yeah, definitely, mate. I One thing that I think has really taken me back is that, as you said, everyone's coming from slightly different experiences. We might have similar themes in terms of donor conception, or low sperm count, low testosterone. There's similarities running through, but it's all different. But we can all sympathise with each other, and
Mm.
there's real empathy going on in the group, and real understanding. And I tell you what really brings a smile to my face is there's guys in the group that are going through some real challenging times right now, but quite often when good news is posted, they are the first ones to kind of congratulate people, and that sense of community is really there. Like, we celebrate each other's wins, and we're there to support each other through those challenges. And there's not much I can really say on it in terms of it's just an amazing thing. You have to experience it to
Mm.
kind of really see it. I mean, we're heading towards 150 members now, and it's absolutely incredible that so many of them are active in that space and
Yeah.
giving each other continuous support. Like even this morning, things are going off this morning, and some quiet the meal conversations
Yeah.
in normal social groups.
People
But
are
in
showing
this,
real vulnerability, aren't they?
yeah, but in this social group, it's being accepted, it's being discussed, and there's been suggestions of support. And at the moment, you and me haven't even dipped in the conversation and guided in terms of what we know. And it just shows this growing
Yeah.
group of men that are just willing to share and support each other. And it's a real humbling thing for me to look at and go, this is incredible. Absolutely
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. It's not about us like kind of leading it or guiding it. It's self-sustaining. Like everyone like comes in, drops their own experiences, and there's people from literally all over the world in there as well, which is always
Yeah.
blows my mind. Is not just obviously we're in England, but there's Europeans, there's Americans, and it's like one of the guys from Washington DC, like what he said when we asked for feedback is that he said it doesn't matter your I can never say this word, socio-economic status, your politics or religion, we're all there for one another and live together.
So,
And so yeah, it's that I think, and that sums up blokes, doesn't it? We are typically so accepting of each other, and once you find what you need in terms of, in this case, someone who understands like exactly how it feels to not have to explain why you're thinking or feeling some way. You just explain the situation, and everyone else automatically knows
yeah.
what you're thinking and feeling, and you don't have to apologize for anything, or it's like you would have to someone who doesn't get it. You might think, well, that's a bit rude. Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
This is life-changing stuff, and we're just there to lift each other up. But
Yeah.
the community is only one aspect, and it's our biggest one. Of course, like we said, everything's always going to revolve around support. But one thing that we were also really passionate about, and this comes back to what you mentioned about like the reception from the professionals in the industry, we are really passionate about misinformation and seeing people post like semen analysis results on Facebook groups or Reddit threads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's bad enough. And what's even worse is then seeing other people interpret them like non-trained laypersons. And that's just one example. That's like a surface level first stop semen analysis. Like, as we know, there's many different complexities and procedures and words and stuff. And so, yeah, like, from the off, we've got some of the really biggest names in the industry put their names to NeXYs and are listed on the site as being involved with us, and they verify the information we put out. They're involved in the webinars that we do. So we do webinars with experts to run with the example I've given about semen analysis to explain, well, what it all means and why you do it and what they're looking for, procedures that are going on behind the hatch. That is just invaluable, because in a world of easy information, it's really important to filter out misinformation, of which there is a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, there is plenty out there, isn't there, mate? We've had plenty of hours discussion over this topic, but it is the way of the world. Like we are in a more connected world than ever in terms of social media and other outlets, and at some point that has to be maybe called out a little bit, because this is something that deeply affects people on an individual level, and they are very vulnerable during that time. And it's important that they receive the information that's correct, the information that's right at the right time, and they're supported in an appropriate way that's for them. This isn't a one size fits all situation. Yes, the ultimate goal is to have a child or to deal with the fertility challenge in hand. But how that is done is individual. And anyone listening to this, if you've seen something on your social media or seen something displayed, double check things. Talk to your clinic, your consultant. We are big advocates for that. Between you and me, mate, we have probably years of experience now in terms of knowledge in our head, and we've spoken to some of the biggest names in the business. But even we don't give out direct information on what to
Never.
do. Never.
No. And there are plenty that do, unfortunately. And I will always, if asked a question, I will say, look, you need to speak to a medical professional, because what worked for me won't necessarily work for you, even if it is a very similar situation. We're all subjective. We all have different things going on beneath the skin, and it's important too. But as we said, we haven't even. That's the thing. Like, we're so. I know we're going here, there, and everywhere because we're so passionate about what we do. Because we haven't even covered everything we do in terms of support. Like, it's not just the WhatsApp group, which is like always there. There are other things that we do. Do you want to?
Yeah, describe them. Yeah, so there's obviously the monthly support groups that we put on online. Something really, they're amazing events, and something that really, I mentioned this to you on the last one, after it had finished. I think I sent you a voice note on it and said it amazes me how how many men attend it, but also how many have we done now? Maybe 6 or 7, and there's always new people there. There's always new people there, new faces. And we've had some where we've had completely familiar people and a couple of, say, new faces to NeXYs. And then the next session, there'll all be new faces and none of the familiar people are there. But we always have new people coming because the reach is getting out. We're getting out further, which is the aim of the game, isn't it? Like, we're not going to hide away from that. We want people to know we're out there. But the topics that are discussed are very organic. Like, we never come with an agenda. Like, we never
Do you
come.
remember what that guy said on last month's one? Or was it this? Yeah, it was this month's one. So his first online support group that he come to, and he sat, as many do. We always say as well, right? There's no pressure to talk, no pressure to turn your camera on. Sometimes just being in that environment, listening to other people validate what you're going through is really like what some people, that's all they need, which is fine. And he had his camera on, but he didn't speak but then he did at the end. And one of the things he said was he didn't really know he didn't expect to get much out of coming to that group. And he just thought, I'll just do it, give it a try. And he was so thankful that he did, because of just how powerful it was for him, and airing out some of those thoughts that have been just circling around his head for a long time. So that really stood out to me, actually, that last time.
Yeah. And that's a common thing, isn't it? We often get people that come on and they'll sit there for 90% of the meeting, and then they just might say something at the end. And it's about feeling comfortable in the environment. And we always want to make it as comfortable and as relaxed as possible. So if people come on and they want to sit there with their cameras off and not say a word, that's cool. Like, no one's going to call anyone out. Like, I've been involved with things in the past and people have sat there for a long time, months, and eventually they have a question and they feel comfortable enough to ask that. And that's exactly what we're promoting at NeXYs.
Yeah.
It's that we are literally a group of guys that are there to talk about male fertility, I should say, because as we found, mate, it is a big rabbit hole. You start off just talking about, say, it all started with yours and mine, our stories, and look how far we've come, the amount of topics that we've covered.
We always say that we're so proud of series 3 of the pod, because we had 10 guys, like other guys, sharing their story openly. And the criteria for coming on is that you put your name and your face out there, full name and face, because that's what starts breaking down stigma. And we were worried, weren't we, before we went into that series, that we wouldn't fill 10 easily did. And now we're doing it again this series, and we went directly to the NeXYs community this time and said, who wants to come on the pod? New names, new faces. And we're so lucky that we can do it, because we filled the series. But it's because that's what is breaking the stigma and shattering the silence, is getting new names for new faces, having places for them to talk, and like the men's panels that we do every month as well. We haven't even discussed that either, but that's such a big part, because we're putting on every single month a panel of men talking about a particular subject and giving their own lived experiences. And that was something that came out when we asked the community what they wanted. That was one of the main ones. Like, you did one last night, didn't you? That would date this podcast now. It's all good. What was last night's all about?
So last night was all about, it was a men's panel on finding the right words to, like, open up about your journey, whether that was to friends, family, work colleagues, and it was an incredibly in-depth and powerful conversation between four guys. Oh, and yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go too much detail. I'd like people to go to maybe nexusfertility.com and if they haven't already, become a member and listen into it. But it was an incredibly powerful discussion and open and honest. And that's one of the things that it's one of our values, isn't it? Like being open and honest about things. And I feel incredibly proud to be able to give other men the environment where they feel they can be open and honest. And that's what happened yesterday. So real honest and heartfelt discussions and challenges were discussed, because I've talked openly about my own challenges with telling family and things like that in the past. And it was nice to hear other people's experiences, because we're all going through it. And as I said, slightly different from each other, but there are similar themes. So it was definitely a very powerful panel.
Yeah,
Keep
we've done
simple.
other
Keep it
ones
simple.
on miscarriage and baby loss, on donor conception, loads. That's
We've done
just
loads. It's just trying to
loads.
remember it all.
We're doing them every month, and it's such a good resource. But yeah, also one thing that we've been really enjoying doing a lot is our in-person meets. So we've run a couple in London, in Leeds, and I'm doing one in Bristol next week, and that's just the start as well. We're going to go all around the country. The Radio 1 Roadshow I compared it to previously.
What would you call it?
Oh,
What can we call it? Nexus Fertility Show. But no, it's been. Do you know what? That was one of the best experiences I've had when we did our first in-person meet in London. It was incredible.
We did it short notice as well, didn't we? And the stars aligned. We were both in London. We said, hey, let's do an in-person support meet. And yeah, it was amazing. 15 lads turned up. And it was a really powerful evening. Just completely validated everything that we're doing and why.
Yeah, we left that pub. I left that pub with a real smile on my face, mate. And knowing, like we know now that from those conversations, people made some really good inroads in terms of their emotional feelings towards what was going on with them.
Yeah.
And some of them have had success since then. But it all started with a simple little conversation with some people. And it's amazing how just feeling like you're not on your own and talking to just one person can make such...
It's a day. And that voice was kicking in saying, nah, don't bother. It's not going to be worth it. And he was so grateful that he came. And he's been really active in the community since as well. Thankfully, he and his missus have moved along in their treatment and are currently expecting. And from seeing where he was on that evening as to where he is now, it's just incredible.
Yeah. And that's what it's about, isn't it? I always said that when I started sharing my story, if I could help one guy, I'd be happy. And now I've come to the realization that just through consistent hard work, we're regularly helping that one guy. And it really does mean a lot, because it all started from no guy should be alone. No guy should feel like we felt, from a personal perspective, how I felt. And that individual probably felt like I felt the day he was coming to that in-person meet. No, they've been great. And I've done one in Leeds since, which went well. It went really well. It's Leeds is my stomping ground. As I tell everyone, I am a southerner living in the north, but I am proud to be here. And we're working on things and developing that. So we're hopefully running another in-person meet soon in Leeds. Using a few connections maybe to develop that network up here, because I really want to make it like the hub of the north for fertility support and care. So yeah, it's exciting. And obviously you're in Bristol next week.
Yeah, Bristol's coming up, and I consider whether to do one in Cornwall, but I think Bristol's is a good place to start in the southwest because of the catchment possibilities of it, and I'm travelling up 3 hours for it. So, like I said to the guys in the community, don't make me do that for a pint on my own. But there's some guys coming over from Wales for it, but yeah, down the line I do anticipate doing some in Plymouth and Exeter, and and you've talked about Manchester, haven't you? And we've talked about Scotland and Ireland, and yeah, it's exciting. We can't wait to start going further afield.
Yeah, it's all when I actually sit down and think about it all, it kind of really does take me back a bit, like it can easily become a bit overwhelming in terms of how much we've individually and as NeXYs, but hey, we'll keep flying that flag, won't we, buddy? It's we're not going away, as you said right at the beginning. We've just got so many plans. I wish we could just blurt them all out, but for reasons out of our control, we can't always, can we? We need to make sure these things can happen before we start saying we're doing this. Oh no, we couldn't make that.
We don't want to write checks that we can't cash.
But that's part of the being honest side of things, isn't it? Like when we put things out into the community, when we put things out on social media, we're putting things out that are real, they're happening. We've done everything we can to make it the best event possible. And I think that's all we can do in terms of that's what the guys need. Because as I said, it started with that question. Do we need? What do we wish we had? And part of that is the consistent, reliable resources. And so we ain't going to let too much out the bag yet. But we might do during our mailbag episodes. We'll be coming along.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to happen and we're really excited about it. And yeah, looking forward to getting into this next series of the podcast as well, because we are back, as I said at the outset. We always take a little break in between series just to reflect and make sure that we are kind of staying online with what we want to do, in line, I should say, not online, but a bit of both. It's on the internet.
It is on. Wait, before you got your new internet, it was staying online was the problem. Thanks for listening. If this episode has helped you, do us a quick favour and leave us a review. You don't even have to use your real name. Every single review helps another man find this show when he needs it the most. It's honestly the best way you can help the next guy. If you've got a question or something you'd like us to cover on the mailbag, drop us an email at themalefertilitypodcast@gmail.com. We read every message and we love hearing from our listeners. And if you'd like a bit more expert guidance and support from other men on the same journey as you, you're welcome to join our free private community at nexusfertility.com. It's totally confidential and designed just for you by guys that get it. For our latest updates, follow us on social media at the Male Fertility Podcast. And remember, gents, you're not on your own.